It was yet another important weekend of African football across the continent, and I wanted to once again share with you my observations as I watched three matches across the continent. The first one in South Africa, the second one in Algeria, and the third one in Tunisia. All of that and more coming up next on the African Five-A-Side podcast. Welcome back to the African Football Report on the African Five-A-Side podcast. I'm your host, Maher Mizahi, and this podcast is brought to you by africasacountry.com, where we actually have a football article up at the moment written by Lee Numalo about the worst thing to happen to football. And she gives her opinion on what or who that is. I'll have the description to that I'll have the link for that article in the description below. But yeah, as I mentioned in the intro, it was a very important weekend of African football that I wanted to recap. In South Africa, we had the two league leaders, Mamelodi Sundowns and Orlando Pirates, going head to head. We also had the Algerian Super Cup take place, also between two of the biggest clubs there, MCA of Algiers and CR Belouizdad, two Champions League clubs, although CR Belouizdad have been eliminated. And finally, in Tunisia, we also had a top three matchup between Esperance de Tunis, who are now leading the league there, and Stade Tunisien, who were leading the league for very long throughout the last few months, really. And I just wanted to, yeah, give my observations about each of those matches and see if you guys watch them and start the conversation that way. So the first match I wanted to talk about really quickly was the match in South Africa, which I watched. I couldn't really, I wasn't at home, so I watched it via a guy who was recording his laptop that he was streaming off of on YouTube. Was we're always gonna find roundabout ways to stream these matches, but I didn't really have like an HD 4K big screen TV to watch this match. First of all, looking at the lineups, I think two things pretty much popped out to mind. First is that Mamelodi Sundowns were once again starting their January transfer signings, Lucas Suarez, the center half, and Jaden Adams. Um, Jaden Adams, he's been already very, very influential for Mamelodi Sundowns in midfield, being able to shuttle, from those defensive positions as a sort of double pivot or to at times being like an 8 or a 10 and being having a creative role in the Sundown system as well. And the Lucas Suarez one is interesting because we were also high on Koza and we all thought he was great. And I think there's still a lot of faith in him at Mamelodi Sundowns. But Suarez, obviously, I think they see him as an upgrade. And so it was one of those things that shows the ruthlessness of Mamelodi Sundowns in the transfer market, that they are absolutely willing to make sure they have a player that they need not just to win the league or not just to be competitive in the CAF Champions League, but to take them a step further. And same thing with Jaden Adams. He obviously takes Sundowns just a step further as well. Whereas Pirates, we said there was no real weaknesses, but I think after watching this match, you can see that they don't really have the same mentality as Sundowns in the transfer market, where it's like we can sign a player here and that's going to take us to the next level. We're not going to wait, for example, if we have injuries, we're not going to wait for this player to come back 3 months later. Just because we feel good about a certain player, that doesn't mean that he can't be upgraded, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, Sundowns were missing Tabiso Sasane and Talent Mbata, and I thought they were pretty big misses. Throughout the match, Pirates center halves, you could see that they were not on the same page. Sabisi and Hoki. Hoki. I don't know how to pronounce that name. But Tapiso Hoki. They were not really on the same page. And you could see that it wasn't the Sabisi Sasane partnership, but even that one I haven't been absolutely huge on, in my opinion, even in the Champions League. I think they've been good, but not top, 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 top. And then the Mbata one was a little bit of a miss because I think his biggest role in that Pirates team is to sort of progress the ball up the pitch, whether it's dribbling, but mostly via passing, direct passing. Um, but one of the things that I found during this match was that as they started Lamini and Maswangani, they were sort of both in each other's areas, trying to find pockets of space in front of the Sundowns defense, at times stepping on each other's toes. And then I found Maswangani a lot of the times drop deeper and deeper and deeper to try and help construct attacking sequences. And so Mbata probably could have done that, and Tito could have stayed in the position that he was best at, further up forward, uh, where Mbata obviously playing. The next big observation before we get into the match is that Loftus needs a better pitch. I mean, there's no excuse for a pitch to be in that bad condition, especially considering that your team, Mamelodi Sundowns, they like to play good, beautiful, slick attacking football. And it's a shame because these, I think, are probably two of the sides on the African continent that play some of the best football in terms of it being attacking, playing the ball on the ground, technical football. Um, and I thought it was just a shame that they had to play on that pitch. Obviously, it's a slight advantage for Sundowns because they're just used to the pitch. It's not that they want to play on a bad pitch, but they're probably just used to it more than Pirates would be. Um, but overall, I think there's never any excuses. You're gonna play a match on a pitch, figure it out. That's my thing. But we can acknowledge that the pitch was a factor, and at the same time say that that's not an excuse nor a justification. But the pitch pops up in the first goal. It's really at the origin of the first goal, and it's I think really Mofokeng on the ball. He slips, gets caught up. We call it in the States they'll say he gets eaten by the turf monster, as if there's a monster that comes out of the turf or the field and eats up or trips you up. Um, and then I think it's what happens after that. Yeah, I think it's Maswangani that fouls a Sundowns player, simply because it's a dangerous position. And then it was just, but again, deal with it. Like things like that are gonna happen, even if it's not necessarily the pitch this time around. Maybe a player pulls a hamstring and he falls down, and the ball is given away, and you have to defend. You have to give away a cynical foul, and you have to defend that cynical foul. So there's no excuses. Defend the set piece better. But it was a beautiful ball by Marcelo Allende and a good finish by Grant Kakana. But um, Pirates concede another set piece. We've been sort of mentioning it in the margins, in the footnotes, after each of their impressive performances in the CAF Champions League. Like, hey, watch out on set pieces, aerial balls. It's not a big deal when you win 4-1 or when you win 3-0 or something like that. But it's always been in the back of my head, like, in the air, in the air, in the air, they can be beaten in the air. Um, Transition defending for goal number two. But again, the pitch played a role. I think it was Maswangani who's trying to dribble. He trips up again on the pitch. But for me, the real role that the pitch played in the second goal was the defender, Hoki. He's when Ribeiro gets the ball and picks up the ball deep in his own end of the pitch and he starts taking off, you could see that defender trips up. And it's just a small stumble. It's not a big one where he's on the floor or anything, but it's a small stumble. But it's enough to give Ribeiro enough of a head start where he cannot be caught again. And Ribeiro just takes off for 60 yards, dribbling past one or two Pirates defenders, very impressively maintaining his rate of speed. I think that was the most impressive part of, no, second most impressive part of the goal, because the most impressive part of the goal was the shot across goal, putting it only where, that's the only way I think he could have scored that goal, is putting it right there. If you probably move it a few centimeters closer to the goalkeeper, the goalkeeper probably makes a save, Sipo Chain. Um, but yeah, it was a ridiculous finish from a player that was ridiculously good on the day and probably been the best player in the PSL on the season. I think I would say. I don't know if you guys would agree with that, but if you look at the number of goal contributions he has, leading scorer in the PSL, he's definitely been one of the most consistent. Um, at the towards the end of the first half, I started looking at Pirates. And I'm saying something's not working here. I said Dlamini and Maswangani are sort of tripping over each other's feet. Maswangani is dropping too deep. You want him a little bit closer to the attacking line. Dion Hoto on the right wing was never in positions where he's on that 45-degree angle, bearing down towards goal, taking on a defender, uh, like that Arjen Robben position where he can sort of cut in and shoot. Or he was never, and he did get in those positions in the second half on the left wing. And his goal is like that, where he's bearing down on defense, plays a 1-2, gets a shot off, and it goes in. But in the first half, as a right winger, he was almost playing the ball backwards, not really facing the opponent goal, not really getting down the byline. I just thought it was a little bit awkward for him as on the right wing. I thought it was a good move by Rivero to switch him to the left wing after that. Um, yeah, the second half starts, and for the first 15 minutes, I thought it was all Orlando Pirates. They played some two atrocious corner kicks, but besides that, they were all over Sundowns, and they obviously pull a goal back via Hoto. which I just explained. But then Ribeiro picks up his second goal, and once again it comes from Ronwen Williams. Ronwen Williams, we saw it in the CAF Champions League where he had sort of, I'm counting it as two assists, even though it's probably one official assist. But time and time again this season, his distribution has been second to none. He can pick the ball up, and you could see like prior to him hitting the ball, there isn't a lot of movement. You could tell he's just making eye contact with one of his attackers, with Ikram Rainers, and Rainers knows, all right, it's time. If he's releasing this, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna be on my horse and go. Um, and that's exactly what happens. He hits Rainers into space. Beautiful pass from Rainers. Beautiful touch pass. And Ribeiro once again, beautiful sweeping finish where it can, that's probably one of the only places where he can hit it and it's going to go in, but no hesitation from him. And it's one of those where when I look back at it from a Pirates perspective, I think that's one where they don't do anything drastically wrong defensively. Like, yes, maybe the defenders can do a little bit better of a job making sure that the Ronwen Williams ball doesn't come over the top. Maybe Sibisi doesn't have to go and cover so soon. Maybe Makaula can come back and cover Ribeiro just a step earlier. Everything was just an, a small step too late, really. It wasn't like, but there was nothing drastically wrong. Everything was just a little too late. But that can happen, when you're playing against top quality opposition and top quality players like Ronwen Williams, Ikram Rainers, Lucas Ribeiro. These are all top players. They can beat you. Sometimes perfect offense, there's no defense that can beat a perfect offense. And I had the impression that that's what that goal was, where it was like, yes, there were ways where you could have stopped this theoretically, but in reality, these goals are, if you hit that perfect of a pass from the goalkeeper, that perfect of a touch pass from the striker, and that perfect of a shot from the attacking midfielder, from the whatever you want to call it, Ribeiro. I mean, there's very little chance that you're ever going to stop it. And then after that, yeah, it was, I think Sundowns just got comfortable. They made their substitutions. They were defending in numbers and still attacking pretty well as well. Pirates, I think you could feel like there was no more belief really in this match. And then the fourth goal, but it was the third and the fourth goal. What worries me about them, um, there's each of these goals comes from worrying themes. The first one we said was set pieces. The second one, transition defending. The third and the fourth one, they come from balls over the top. Now, I don't know if this is a problem with that's personnel based, where if they change the center halves, they're not going to let these balls come in over the top. But like if Sasane is playing, maybe that's not going to happen so much. I don't know, but that's a problem because I'm going to show you what Esperance Tunis does and how they exploit opposing defenses with balls over the top. Like they need to make sure they get that under control. So it's another ball over the top. At that point in time, there's no defensive midfielders on the pitch. Makaula has been subbed off. It's Maswangani and Dlamini that are playing in central midfield. So I can understand them not completely coming back, even though Dlamini's hustling his butt off. And there's just space that Mokwana finds, and he hits another beautiful shot, and it goes in. And 4-1 to Mamelodi Sundowns. What does that mean for the league? I'm not really gonna read too much into it, and it's not really my place to say because I'm not an ardent follower of the PSL. I'm not gonna pretend to be. Uh, I would just say like I see like a lot of doom and gloom from Pirates fans online. I wouldn't be that. I think the scoreline. I I want to say they flattered Sundowns a bit, even though Sundowns were very very good. Um, but there's still so much football to play, and you still have to play them in Orlando. There's still half the season to go. You're only 6 points behind if you win your game in hand. I think it's a little too early for the doom and gloom. But I can understand people saying this exposed the fact that we should have signed somebody in the transfer window, that we don't have a squad that is as deep as we thought it was, that there are real problems in the way we defend, and so on and so forth. But yeah, tough loss for Pirates, but like I said, I wouldn't be too worried. So Esperance de Tunis versus Stade Tunisien was a really cool match. One of the ones where I wish I was there. But I just wanted to point out, rather than talk about the goals and what happened during the match, I wanted to point out a tactical trend that I've been talking about a lot. And it's Ilias Mokwana. And Ilias Mokwana, there's two things that I've always been saying about him. His running, his willingness to make runs, to fight for every ball, to play like as if he's starving, Um, that's a very rare quality for wingers on in North Africa, and I think it adds a dimension to Esperance de Tunis that nobody else really has. So let's look at, for example, some of this film study, and here you could see Mokwana just this is when I say like he's a scavenger. If there's a loose ball, if you're not watching, if you as he's tracking back, he's gonna nick the ball and he's gonna create chances. So here we see Stade Tunisien being a little bit sloppy, very sloppy second pass, and here we have Mokwana ready to pounce, hits a beautiful pass to Ashraf Jabri, and Esperance de Tunis have a counterattack. Same thing over here, little bit sloppy play, boom, he's in. Mokwana's in, centers the ball. Another shot from Jabri doesn't go in. But this is the tactical pattern that I really wanted to focus on. This is Esperance de Tunis with the ball, and there's a difference between their left wing and their right wing, and they're asymmetrical in a sense. The left winger is usually Youssef Belaili. He's going to pick up the ball, and when he picks up the ball, he usually picks it up deep, and yeah, deep and sometimes central as well. And Mokwana is more of a player that's just going to be playing along the back line with the last defender, and he's just going to be making diagonal runs time and time and time again. So let's see this in action. Here you have Belaili, picks up the ball. Mokwana, as soon as he sees Belaili is on the ball, makes his run between the defenders. Boom, picks up a foul. Beautiful job. One more time over here. You see the pass, you see the touch. Great job. Over here, same thing. As soon as Abdurrahman Konate cuts back on his right foot, that's the key for Mokwana to start his run. So you're going to see Abdurrahman Konate cuts in, boom, there's the run. And that's just a great run. And one more time over here, Youssef Belaili, as soon as he cuts in on his right foot, look at this run from Elias Mokwana. It doesn't always come to him, but I just wanted to highlight it. Again, Abdurrahman Konate cuts in on his right foot. Look at that run. And again, it doesn't come to him. But the fact that he's a willing runner and he's willing to make those runs time and time and time again. Another one. That adds an element of depth. It adds an element of speed, of dangerousness to the Esperance attack that I think, like I said, very few teams in North Africa have, in my opinion. There's another player that I discovered in this match. His name was Bonheur Mugisha from Rwanda. And I just love this player. I mean, I'd never watched him play before. I'd heard his name before. And it was just a great opportunity to watch him play. And he did such a good job of just screening the Stade Tunisien defense and being so clean and precise in possession play. So I just wanted to share with you this discovery that I had because I think this is probably one of the reasons why Rwanda are doing so well with their national team and why Stade Tunisien have been doing so well in the Tunisian championship because he's been one of the best midfielders in the Tunisian league. So here you just see him, Mugisha in possession, cool, tidy, calm. Once again, a player on his heels, and he never panics, never at all. Beautiful. Again, talking about not panicking, dribbling in his zone, not panicking at all. Again, clean in possession. Makes it here. Here he steps up, takes a shot to the face, but stop the use of Belaili attack. Again, never, ever, ever panicking in possession. It's an exaggeration to say he's Sergio Busquets, but does a great job. And there's just a smoothness about him. There's a style to him that I really really like. And so yeah, I just wanted to share this player with you guys. And these are all just highlights of the first half. And same thing with um, Elias Mokwana. Those are just highlights of the first half, not highlights of the second half for him. But as the halves actually started to go on, Mugisha got tougher and tougher, and he started being more and more active defensively. So yeah, just wanted to share that with you. Finally, the last thing I wanted to share you guys this week was MCA of Algiers playing against CR Belouizdad in the Algerian Super Cup, and it was an interesting game. I really wanted to see is MC of Algiers going to become a much better attacking team under this new coach Khalid bin Yahya from Tunisia, because that was the problem under Patrice Baumel. Remember, they have the best defense in the CAF Champions League, but not necessarily even close to having the best attack, neither in the Algerian League nor in the Champions League. Um, what I would say is what I found was that not only are MC of Algiers, I think they're just about the same offensively, not much better, but defensively, I think they've gotten even better. What Khalid bin Yahya has been able to do is institute a press. You could see that he's increased the physical condition of all the players because they are absolutely, they don't get exhausted. They press from minute one. Definitely during the whole first half, they were nonstop pressing and making CR Belouizdad a very good team very uncomfortable. So let's see how MC of Algiers were pressing like mad dogs, really like a pack of mad dogs. Here, CR Belouizdad have the ball in the MCA half, and look, there's the trigger, the first man, and now it's just nothing fancy, nothing sophisticated, just want it more than you and willing to counterattack in numbers. Comes up with a half chance of a here with a cross, but well defended. This amounts to nothing. Again, as soon as the first man goes, there's a trigger. All right. Everybody's communicating with one another. Who's got who? And forces a mistake from the CR Belouizdad defender Shaib Cadet. All right. Same thing. Don't play a short goal kick if they're in this kind of mode. Because look at this. They're just going to force you to make a mistake. Even if they're the ones that foul you here, they just never let you breathe. Here, look, they're going to give the ball away on a long ball. The captain, Aib Abdullahi, gives the ball away on a long ball. And now watch everybody get put in place. And look, I mean, this you could see how organized they are. You could see how everybody's pressing. Nobody's taking a single minute off. This is really I've only seen this at this level under Khalid bin Yahya. Here is one where they start CR Belouizdad that they get kind of lucky here. You see, and they clear it. Beautiful job again. Here's one where I believe CR Belouizdad start using the goalkeeper. You can see there, just a beautiful job pressing again, winning a goal. Here's one where CR Belouizdad start using the goalkeeper, bringing in an extra player in possession. And you would think that, that usually makes a team hesitate, especially if the goalkeeper is good playing it on the ground like Ronwen Williams. But just watch, they don't panic. They let the ball be played into midfield. Try to force them one way, it doesn't work. All right, we're going to go the other way then. And the midfielders are all over the opposing midfielders. Just a great job. And even when they get unlucky over here, watch how they keep with it, keep with it, keep with it. I believe here we're going to have a long ball. And they really should win that here. They get unlucky. Great first time pass right here by Abdelrahman Mazian and MC of Algiers. They don't panic. Everybody's tracking back. Look at the wingers tracking back. And this is in the last minute of the first half when they're dead tired, winning 2-0 already. So I loved what I saw from MC of Algiers in terms of how they were pressing teams. And what I would say is that if ever, in the quarterfinals of the CAF Champions League, they lose the first leg away from home and they have that pressure where they have to win that second leg. Well, actually, the second leg is not going to be at home anyways, right? So that's a moot point. But if ever they're in that position where they're putting teams under pressure at home, I I would say just watch out for that press because we saw some teams struggle with it. I remember Sundowns struggling against Raja Casablanca in Morocco with the high press. I haven't seen a press like this in the CAF Champions League this year. So they've added that to their locker under Khalid bin Yahya. But offensively, it hasn't been much, much, much different. Wingers are still very much dribblers, not too much end product. The striker, Sofiane Belouizdad, has scored 6 goals since December started. So he's been in decent form. 6 goals is a lot for 2.25 months if you're a striker from MC of Algiers. And they've been scoring goals, but via set pieces. Even in this match, as they were winning 2-0, the first one was from a penalty shot, and the second one was from a set piece that a defender headed in. So yeah, anyways, these were the 3 matches that I watched this weekend. I wanted to share with you guys my thoughts, my observations. I know it can be important for you guys, but yeah, the reason why I wanted to bring in like the problem with, for example, Pirates defending balls over the top is because look what Esperance does with Mokwana. That could be a real threat if you don't figure it out. And then yeah, the MCA press if Sundowns get too cute trying to play the ball out the pitch. So yeah, so very interesting sort of tactical trends that we can sort of see being implemented in local leagues that we could maybe see in the CAF Champions League later on. Anyways, thanks for watching another episode of the African Five Side Podcast. We'll speak to you all very soon. Peace.